Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here and welcome to BMTV. Right, this week we've got a very special guest and his name is Dr. Bob. Now, some of you that might have been in the industry for a while probably recognise that name. Dr. Bob is an amazing industry stalwart. He's a retailer, he's a decorator, he's an entertainer, he's just everything really in our industry. Now, I've got a story to tell. We were going to have a little chat with him and then we were going to show you how to do something, how to make something. However, when we were editing this show, we discovered that it would have been more than 2 hours long. And I know that you all enjoy watching BMTV, but I'm not too sure that anybody could take a full 2 hour show. So we've split it. So this first show that you're going to see today is where myself and Dr. Bob are chatting a lot of tips on what to do in the industry, how to get into the industry and things like that. And then the second show that we will show very, very soon is how to make the amazing piece of balloon art that you would see on the table whenever, in this show. So without further ado, let's go and find out a little bit more about who Dr. Bob is. Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here and welcome to BMTV. Well, this week we have a doctor in the house. It is Dr. Bob from Dr. Bob's Balloons Unlimited, a stalwart of the balloon industry. And well, he's here to tell us a little bit more about him and possibly show us how to make something. So Bob, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Should I call you Dr. Bob?
Dr. Bob, if you like.
Dr. Bob, sorry. Okay, Dr. Bob. So Dr. Bob, let's start with, well, let's tell everybody, how long have you been in the industry and how did you get into the industry?
Right, well, I've been in the industry since the early 90s. Started around 93, approximately, maybe a bit earlier than that. I actually started because of my daughter.
All right.
Yeah, she went on holiday to America and went to Disney World, and she ended up in Orange County, and there was a balloon shop there. Okay. And she brought me back a packet of 260 Qs.
Yeah.
And from there then, because obviously I was dabbling in magic beforehand and seen an entertainer, I thought, oh, I fancy doing that. I think I could do that. And then she brought the bag home, a lovely present. I was so excited. Didn't want to do nothing else.
Yeah, yeah.
Hurt my jaw. Had sore hands, and I was making all sorts of strange and obscure things. But eventually I kept homing and eventually started making some lovely stuff. Well, I saw some photographs of arches and things like that. Oh, got a bit excited. Yeah. And then I thought, have a little go with that. So that's what I did. I started experimenting, and then I think it was my sister-in-law's 40th birthday at the time. So I said, I'll do that for you. And then I basically done some pillars, crossover arch, table arrangements. Everyone loved it. And then the work started coming in left, right and centre. Yeah. And my brother-in-law then said, well, I'm opening up a business. He said, why don't you take half the property with me? I said, okay, that's fine. The business he had was memorial stonemasons. So basically, I had the small half on this side and he had the larger half. And our nickname was Hatch and Dispatch, amongst other names, you know. So, yeah, it was quite a comical thing. Some people thought it was funny. Some people thought it was a little bit sad, like, you know. So, but that's where I started.
Oh, right. It's always interesting, isn't it, to talk to people, anybody in the industry, and find out their story. Because you didn't say, but you were actually a train driver, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. Worked on the Cardiff Rail network, worked all the valleys and the main line. And when I was doing sort of little parties for the children and family, and of course, when the balloons came, I had something to practice in my breaks and in between stations. Well, not in between stations, but when not
while you were driving.
No. When we were having our breaks, like we'd turn around. I'd have 20 minutes. I would make something. If somebody was in the train upset, I said, I wonder if I could get something when I get the other end or something like that. So and my reputation built up. I sort of built it up in time. And when I eventually come to open the shop, people knew about me. Yeah. So which is good.
So where did you get the name Dr. Bob from?
Well, that goes back to the railway, and
because you're not a real doctor, are you?
No.
That's
better put that right. But I used to teach first aid, rescue, and life support.
Right, okay.
Because I was heavily involved. I used to compete all around the UK in competitions and so forth, and I trained for the Red Cross and the St John's Ambulance. Of course, I used to go on major events and things like that, and plan major scenes for training. because we used to do casualty simulation and stuff like that, you see.
Right,
So, yeah.
Fantastic. So they called you Dr. Bob because you were
Well, yeah.
the first aid kind of person.
Yeah, well, one of my colleagues, I was saying, oh, what can I call myself? I didn't know what to do. And they said, well, why don't you stick to Dr. Bob? Because if the balloon pops, you're really quick at fixing it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're a surgeon of balloons, so keep it at Dr. Bob, and that's where it stuck.
Because you've done one or two quite large sculptures in your time, haven't you?
Yes. Well, going back a few years ago, I think 2011, we'd done the first British Balloon Festival.
Yeah.
It was held in Cardiff in the Red Dragon Centre, and we had the support of John at the time from Bapia, and we launched the Green Balloon campaign. And we had Sue Bowler and Jodie and a few other people helping out. Basically, I think we used 27,000 balloons at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was great. It was exciting. We had, I think, 40,000 visitors come to see it. So
fantastic.
It was a great time, and we had a laugh as well. So it was really good.
Yeah, and I saw on your website a picture of a big giraffe as well.
What was that? We did that one in 2013. So we'd done a follow-up to it.
Yeah,
and that giraffe was one of many different scenes and characters that we did on the actual set. And he stood 22 feet 6 inches, and there was 8,000 balloons on there.
Wow.
And my sister blew every one up, and I tied every single one on to get the pattern right.
How long did that take to do something
well,
big?
I made the frame in the back of the shop. At the time, I didn't have much room. It was probably about as big as this, so I had to build it in sections. So I built a wireframe, and that took me, I think, about 3 days.
Yeah.
And then I put it together in the centre, because we had the old Doctor Who unit.
Yeah.
And we put it in there and then built it up, but we only had a double doorway to get it through, so I had to figure out how to get it through.
Yeah.
It's always a challenge, never a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I think it took six days in all.
Yeah.
With the construction of the frame and then putting all the balloons on it. Because I think we have 2 weeks set up, and then everything goes on display then.
So, what tips would you have for somebody starting in the industry? Obviously, you're in an unusual situation that you're an entertainer, you're a retailer, you're a decorator, balloon artist, you're all of those things.
Yeah.
What tips would you have for anybody really getting into the industry?
I think a lot of people tend not to think about what they need to be doing, where they need to be going. So they need to focus on what they want. Do they want to open a shop? Or do they want to just sell balloons? Do they want to become a decorator? Do they want to become an entertainer? I had a passion for everything, you know. Yeah. So I think the most important thing is thinking at the bigger picture, but think about it in stages.
So you think about the bigger picture. So where you want to be, ultimately.
That is the end goal.
And then just...
But I think you need to think about the basics. And I think everyone wants to make this and do that and make something really special. But unless you know the basics, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
For me, it was like I used to drive my ex-wife mad, because I would be doing things till the early hours of the morning, making this, trying that. I loved it so much. I was a bit obsessive at one stage.
Yeah.
But as I said, I think people need to train. That's the important thing. Know what you're selling, understand the product. So you need to do research on the product, where you are, the location as well, which is another important thing. People open up close by to another business. Silly. You've got to think of the market that you want to get into as well. The financial aspect, because when you run your business, you've got to be an accountant, you've got to be a sales rep, you've got to be able to display things, you've got to be able to communicate with people.
So you're talking about the financial side. I know a lot of people in this industry, they do start at home. We started at home.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Most people start at home. I don't think it's... I think some people thought, oh, you start at home business, it's nothing really. It's a bit of, you know, whatever.
I think people feel as though that, you know, just because they're working from home, but they shouldn't feel like that.
You can be as professional now with the internet, working from home, as you could with a shop 10 years ago.
Well, the thing is, as I said to you earlier, it's about the image, your face. Well, your face on Facebook, you know, as long as you've got the right presentation, we were talking about logos, image, and etc. That's something else you need to be thinking about as well. So it's how you present yourself. But if you're working from home, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I've had many people in my classes, and they say, "Oh, we work from home, we can't charge it." I said, "Well, why not? Do you know what I mean? Because they got to think about, well, if you can move in from here and then go in to buy or rent a property, how are you going to pay for all that? If you haven't got that all preset, you know, and got the right financial thing in it, because you need to do training, you need to buy that Porsche, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah. You need to go on holiday, you've got to pay for your bills, look after the children. So unless it's all prepared for and thought about, as I said earlier on, thinking about what you need to do. I did think about it, and it was scary moving, because I was fortunate that I was sharing the bills with my brother-in-law, although I found out I was paying more than he was. But you know, it helped. You know, there's lots of ways of doing the transition, but unless you prepare for it early, you know, then it's going to fail.
That's a really valid point. We've been talking, as you say, a lot about pricing. We did the BMTV business show about pricing. I talked about it when we went up to the Q Tour, and we've got our interactive pricing tool as well. And it's about allowing for all those costs. Yeah. So when Mark was talking about charge a minimum of £15 an hour, and people are thinking, oh, that might be a bit too much. Well, you've got to consider all the other costs as well, as well as the obviously overheads that you allow that 35% for.
Yeah, well, I do that a little bit more than the 25p an hour. Yeah. 25p a minute, I should say.
25p an hour, yeah. You don't want to be doing that.
You'll end up working that with the hours I work anyway. But no, I think people forget that all these things cost. They see, oh, I can make this, I can do that. All right, it's great having them, you know, thoughts, I want to do this, I want to do that. But without the finances, you cannot like go to the Cortex tour, go to see all these road shows and do courses. I worked hard in the early days to go to these competitions. It was self-financing. So, you know, it was literally buy a bag, do this, get a bag and build my stock up. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because obviously I didn't have the financial help. But if you've got the passion, you've got the sense, and not lose yourself, and stay focused, stay grounded is the most important thing as well. Yeah. And remember that these things have to be done, and make sure they're done regularly. Then you will not lose focus, and then you build slowly and stronger and stronger. Yeah. It's like a sapling. Yeah. You water it and feed it properly, it'll grow stronger and stronger. Yeah. It's the same sort of principle.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's very good. I mean, all that advice there is absolutely spot on. I think you're talking about being a creative person, but I think you need to have this sort of sensible accountancy side of, and if you've not, you've got to have somebody that you can talk to about that, be it a wife, a husband, a friend, you know, somebody that you work with.
Well, for me, sorry to interrupt you, with my daughter, she gave me that opportunity. And, you know, for a long time, I was trying to run the business, doing everything. I was putting so much time into it. Yeah. I loved it so much. I didn't want to lose it. You know, obviously we've been through a few financial crises. I thought, I ain't losing this. I put too much into it. But then you've got to look. I was looking at, right, you know, like you said about the accountancy. You're not going to be a master of everything. Yeah, absolutely. You know, you've got to know where your limitations are, and you've got to think about maybe hiring an accountant, or somebody that does your books, and then passing them on to an accountant. You've got to look at somebody who's going to work the phones for you. You know, it's all these things. If you were being paid, you'd be paid about 6 different people, wouldn't you? Yeah, do you know what I mean? Because you're a warehouseman as well.
Different hats on, exactly. You do everything.
And this is what I explained when we're in the course on pricing, because people forget the bigger picture, you know, and they don't look back at what they're doing. They think, oh, I can sell that for that. But you need to pay for all these things.
I think as well, you've got to use other people to allow you to focus on what you're good at. So if you are the creator, and that's what you do, like you said earlier, you need to have time to practice these things.
Sure. Well, my daughter, no, she's the operations manager of the business, and she's got the same passion as me, and she's very creative as well.
What's her name?
Claire.
Should we say hello to Claire?
Hello, Hi, Claire. I mustn't forget George. He's just become a grandfather as well.
Hello, George.
Yeah. Baby George.
Baby George.
Baby George.
He probably won't understand that.
But Claire's come into the business. She's fantastic. She deals with the admin and the everyday running of the business. I've also got my sister, Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hello, Julie.
And she's great as well. So she's the manager of the shop, and it gives me time to be more creative, and they do the running of the shop, and I spend days in the shop as well, obviously. Yeah. But we've got a great team. And as the old saying is, without the teamwork, the dream doesn't work.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
And like you were saying earlier on, we all muck in. I wouldn't ask them to do what I don't do. We clean the floor, clean the toilets.
That's your job as well?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We do everything. But, and then everyone's part of the business. We're all building it together.
Yeah.
And that's what the passion is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. They're great tips, and it's just been fantastic to hear your story today. But I want to talk a little bit more about the industry as a whole, and what are the challenges facing all of us in the industry at the moment, would you think?
I've seen something before I came down here that they've got a problem again in America with the balloon ban.
Yeah.
So they're striving to fight that, because obviously everyone's all about the environment, etc. And I think like where I started the Green Bloom campaign to educate people, because we were going into schools and so forth, but that's been taken a back burner for the moment.
Okay.
But that was the whole reason for that, to educate people. And I think, we've got to be mindful about education, apart from ourselves, but to educate the people. Greater than that as well, we've got the internet. There's more people about. You've got...
When you say the internet as a challenge, why is that?
Sometimes it can be a great... I'm old-fashioned. Okay. I've embraced the internet. Yeah. But sometimes I think it can be a bad thing, because you can get overexposure as well. Because some businesses, they tend to put too much of their work on their sites, and then there's no anticipation, there's no excitement. Yeah. Because with us, we use the internet as the best we can. We've got a website, we've got a Facebook site, but we don't post every week. We think about what we're going to post and so forth, and you need to, again, planning about what you think need to be done, and it takes time as well, because you've got to have time for that, and you need somebody else for that as well. Yeah. So it's all about planning. There are lots of other things as well. There are more people. You've got because a lot of people think that the superstores are competitors, but they're not really. They could be your best asset.
If you're focusing on what the other man is doing, you're not focusing on what you could or should be doing.
And that's what a lot of people do. Oh, they're selling this at that. They're selling this at that. Well, forget about them. Keep an eye on them. Yeah. Okay. There's lots of them around, I know, and it is a challenge. But as long as you stay positive, focused, concentrate on your business, be aware of what's going on out there, and be aware of the new things that are coming in, and the new ideas, etc. And use that and focus on that, and then your business will grow. Because the more negative you are, that will progress into your business, and your business will slowly go down and down and down.
They say that whatever you focus on, that's what you get. Yeah. So if you focus on positive, you get positive things happening. If you focus on negative, you get negative things happening. Yeah, absolutely. I really do. Me too. But you were telling me, talking of challenges as well, you were telling me earlier on about, and you mentioned it, about a couple of shops that came to your street. Oh, yes. Do you want to share that story with everyone?
Well, originally, our shop, I've always done balloons, but we expanded into fancy dress. We'd done costume hire. And we also done retail costumes with Smithies and the other companies. And we were doing quite well with it. And as everyone does, they wanted to come in and have a go at it themselves, because they see people doing a business and they think I can do that. That's great. It's easy. They come in. And there's another party shop. And basically they were within 100 yards, less than that, 200 yards. And they were cheaper than me. Yeah. But I kept my prices. I was a bit concerned. I got to be honest. I was concerned. Oh my God, no! It's two shops here. What am I going to do? Yeah, absolutely. But I thought, no, this is silly. You've got good qualities. You do everything right. Concentrate on that, and that's what I did. Yeah. I had nobody to tell me.
So you didn't lower your prices at all?
No. I kept the prices there, and I put special offers on, now and again. Done the balloon of the month, and a few other bits and pieces. And eventually they're gone. I'm still here. Yeah. And it's a proof in the pudding. It's not all about doing things cheap. It's about the service, the quality, and the after service, and that's what we're about. Yeah. And I'm so passionate about that. It's so important how you engage with people when they come in the shop. Yeah. I could talk for days.
No, I totally understand that, because I think you can call them the softer skills, if you like, interacting, communicating, and people buy into it. And we talked about the experience earlier on, didn't we? And when Bob arrived, he parked right in front of the front door, but said, is that okay to park? And I said, no, you've got to park over there. And the reason being is we like to keep those spaces closest to the front door for the customers, because they're the most important people, not me or you.
That's right. Well, that's why I asked, because where we are, we got a little bit of an issue with some of the traders parking in the street. And we try to educate them to say, mainly estate agents, because they're like.
Apologies to any estate agents that might be watching.
but they're in and out all the time. But sometimes they can be there for 2 hours. That could be 3 or 4 customers. But it's important to stay away from your business. It doesn't take nothing to 5 minutes away from the business, and your shop front is where you sell your business. How they look at the front of the shop. I'm renovating the front of my shop because every so often I upgrade it and change it, because it's important to keep doing that. It's not only the front door, it's how you present yourself when they come in the shop and how the shop looks as well. It's no good coming in and seeing saggy blooms when you've got a good window. This
is all to do with branding. I mean, we talked about branding earlier, and you were talking about your logo and the process you went through to get that. But branding is the complete package, isn't it? And we talked about that restaurant that myself and Rachel went into, and we were there for 10 minutes. They were over there chatting, didn't even come to us, so we got up and walked out. That brand is now destroyed for us, because even though it was just a local restaurant, we're not going to go there again. And any conversations we've had, tell people about that experience. But I love what you were saying earlier as well about you've got that section which is your, what did you call it? Not a consultation room.
It's a consultation room. It is a consultation room. Because we got an office cum consultation room, which is away from the environment, because there's too many distractions. Although we do interviews, if you can imagine, here we got the counter here, there's people here, can I have that? Oh, excuse me a second. It's distractions, so it breaks up the monotony. So we try and book them in. Not everyone wants to go in and have a consultation. They'd rather just get the price and go. But if you can engage and capture that person, that's why I was saying about the internet, it can be a bad thing, because sometimes people ask for, can you send me a picture? We want this, or can you duplicate this? But I won't send the price or anything. I say, well, where's it going to? What's the occasion? What's the event? Find out first. Don't give the price straight away, because otherwise you'll lose the customer. All they're after is price. So if you want to win that customer over, you have to engage and be part of their experience. Or what's it all about? Because we don't talk about prices. Customer comes in, we say, all right, well, what's the occasion? Are you going to a restaurant? Is it a present, or is it going to be on the table? You know what I mean? Or is it going to be a party? So you're building up the picture in between. Is there other things on the table, like for a wedding? Are you having vases? So, all right, it might not be appropriate to have bouquets. Maybe something around the room, or something just in the centre or on the top table. So you're thinking about it as well as engaging with the customer, and they're thinking about us as well, And
you're asking the right questions.
Because we find out about their honeymoons and everything, you know what I mean? So it's important.
And you were saying that you actually end up selling a higher value wedding package if you take them to that room.
Well, as I said earlier on, it's like sometimes they might come in and they only want to say £60, £50. And if we book them in, I'm not just saying that, but the value does go up. Recently we had somebody coming in for about £60 wedding. They ended up spending £250, for the sake of a little bit more time.
A little one-to-one attention, This is some of Bob's work right here. And Father's Day is coming up. So I think possibly Bob might have something to show us. So Bob, are you going to show us how to make this?
Ooh, I don't know, you twist my arm.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay.
So there you go. That was Dr. Bob with some amazing stories and industry tips there. Dr. Bob, thank you very much for coming in. It was an absolute joy to talk to you. Right, that's it from me this week. I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, the second part will be very, very soon, so keep your eyes open for that. But from me for this week, thanks very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.